This is CNN Breaking News.
Hello and welcome to our viewers joining us here in the United States and from all around the world. I'm Linda Kincaid. Israel and Iran are bracing for more deadly back and forth strikes as the White House weighs its next moves. The Israeli Defense Forces ordered people to go to bomb shelters, saying Iran has fired more missiles. Air sirens have been blaring. In Iran, state media says air defenses have been activated over Tehran as a number of explosions rang out in the capital. A local official says Iran shot down an Israeli drone near the country's Natanz nuclear facility. Well, the U.S. president abruptly left the G7 summit for what he called obvious reasons, telling his national security staff he's going to convene a meeting in the White House Situation Room. Before his departure, Donald Trump offered this explanation to his Canadian counterpart.
Well, I have to be back. Very important. I want to just thank our great host. He did a fantastic job. Thank you. In Canada. But you probably see what I see, and I have to be back as soon as I can.
Well, earlier, Mr. Trump posted that Iran should have signed the deal. I told them to sign. What a shame and a waste of human life. Simply stated, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I said it over and over again. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. And it seems that many are heeding that advice. These images show a long line of cars trying to escape the Iranian capital. The Israeli Prime Minister says the strikes have set back Iran's nuclear program, quote, a very, very long time, but made it clear that additional targets remain. Israel's ambassador to the U.S. says Iran's Fordo nuclear site, which is buried deep in the mountains, can only be destroyed with a special American bomb.
In order for Fordo to be taken out by a bomb from the sky, the only country in the world that has that bomb is the United States. And that's a decision the United States has to take whether or not it chooses to actually pursue that course.
Well, CNN's Paula Hancock's is tracking all the developments and joins us live from Abu Dhabi. Good to have you with us, Paula. So can we start with the new wave of missiles from Iran this morning? What are you learning?
Well, Linda, we know that air raid sirens have been sounding across much of Israel, central Israel, also Tel Aviv. We know that people have been told to seek shelter. Now, there have been some images that we have seen of streaks in the sky over Jerusalem showing the missiles coming from Iran itself. We don't have information at this point as to what the points of impact may have been, how many may have been intercepted, or how many got through to their targets. So that is information we're waiting for. We did hear, though, just in the last hour from the spokesperson of the Israeli military, and he had pointed out that there had been very few missile strikes in the early hours of today, as opposed to the early hours of Monday morning when there were hundreds of missiles. He had said that that was because the IDF, the Air Force, had been targeting the missile production sites, the missile launchers, what he called missile hunting in Iran, and seemed to suggest that that had had some positive impact by lessening the number of missiles coming through. Now, we will have to wait and see whether that prediction was premature as to how many missiles have been fired from Iran this time. But certainly there is no sense that that this is quietening down in any shape or form. We are seeing once again air raid sirens across much of Israel. And we have been seeing throughout the night airstrikes hitting parts of Iran as well. Linda?
And Paula, as I mentioned earlier, the U.S. president left the G7 summit early and then took to social media urging everyone in Iran's capital to evacuate immediately. Talk to us about the reaction to that warning in the region.
Well, the warning itself didn't have a lot of context, it has to be said, that the US president's warning residents of Tehran to evacuate, not giving any reason as to why they should. We do know that the Israeli military had specified a certain neighborhood of Tehran to be evacuated, and we know that they did then target that particular neighborhood. For example, they targeted the state TV news provider, and we understand from officials on the ground there that 2 people were killed in that strike. But certainly there is concern in Tehran. It is a very different situation for civilians and residents on the ground there. They have no air raid sirens. There's no warning of when the airstrikes are about to hit, and there are no official shelters. People are sheltering as best they can in the metro, in the subway, and also in underground parking lots. So they're certainly not as prepared for this kind of onslaught as civilians in Israel are. So that's a very different situation for the residents there. And it's been brought out, you can see from those images of absolute gridlock of people trying to leave Tehran, trying to go to somewhere more rural, more isolated, where they feel that they do have more protection. The Israeli military has warned Iranian residents to move away and evacuate if they are close to weapons production facilities, for example. We have seen there have been some apartment blocks that have been targeted because there may be a certain individual in there that Israel wants to target as well. So it's a very difficult situation for residents in Tehran to know exactly where is safe.
And of course, Paula, there have been civilian casualties on both sides. Reports certainly suggest that the death toll is much higher in Iran. What are the latest details, and how reliable is that information coming out of the region?
Well, the information we have is coming from the Ministry of Health, from hospitals as well in Iran itself. And at this point, we know that well over 200 people, they have said, have been killed in Iran. They say that the vast majority are civilians. They say that children have been killed as well in those strikes. We do know that some top military commanders are among those numbers as well. We know that has certainly been a key target for Israel, trying to take out the head of the army, of the armed forces, of the Revolutionary Guard Corps, of the Air Force, and that has really been a key part of Israel trying to destabilize the regime and the regime's ability to be able to react militarily. But of course, we are seeing casualty figures in Israel as well, but they are far less. And I think that goes back to the point I was making, that Israeli civilians have a very sophisticated air raid siren system, an early warning detection system that warns them when there are incoming missiles, and they are told to go to shelters, which they have. And this is simply something that the Iranian residents don't have. Linda?